Alright, let's turn this truck around and back him up to Big Nasty over here. This is the one we're putting a 6-speed in, and supposedly it's a runner. So we're gonna put him in the shop and see what kind of runner she is. Once we I can't start her with the 6-speed or with the transmission out. All right, y'all hold on, let me get this hooked up. All right, so we're gonna pick her up and we're gonna back her in to the shop. So let me go get on the other side where I can get a better vantage point. Yeah, these big flatbeds got a little weight to them. Cool deal. Let's bring her around. Alright, she's coming in. It's a little tricky dancing with these guys on the pole. So Alright guys, we're going to pull the adapter. I'm going to put this down here where I'm right on the flat surface of the block, and just give it a little tap. Couldn't find this on video. It just automatically flies off, I guess, for everybody in the video. See if you can get your pry bar behind that side a little bit and just get somewhere where you can, it's rocking back and forth. I just want to Tell you what, come on this side and see if you can hold that side from going back in. Seems like when I'm watching this dowel pin, seems like every time I get it to come out on your side, it wants to go back. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Do the same thing. And just stay on that meat right there. Ready?
Yeah.
Why is this sucker staying on this side? Well, yeah, but I need to. All right.
Yeah, that's what that looks like.
So that's how you get the adapter off, and make sure you remember which way it goes.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's how it looks, yeah.
All right, so now we can forward the seal from this part. I wasn't sure if you were ready to
Think so?
get on it or not, but the one that the plate or the back of the block underneath the truck, is it dry? In other words, no oil been running down it or anything? The whole back wall above the...
It was all kind of rusty. It didn't really look oily
Mm-hmm.
on the truck.
All right,
all
guys.
of this was just rusty, you know. I didn't realize you can see the whole camshaft.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So yeah, that's what we needed. You said you could buy this from O'Reilly's or no?
I don't know if we can or can't. Now, is there a wear ring on here, or is that...
No, this one was without. This one was factory.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much, guys, all of your replacement rear mains are going to usually come with a wear ring. The original seal is going to have rubbed a little groove in the end of that crank, so we're going to put the wear ring on first.
So the manual...
And,
I'm sorry.
okay. All right, guys, we got this back cover off and just realized something. The lower section, the arch that goes underneath the crank, is the oil pan, which is, let's see, the bottom right there. So the issue we're gonna have is we don't think we can put it, we don't like the idea of trying to put this back cover back on and, you know, pushing the plate on horizontally instead of what we'd normally do is push the plate on vertically or the oil pan on vertically to get a good squish. And the last thing we want to do is create our own damn oil leak. So we had to call an audible. Again, I don't understand why the cover's missing on this. You know, we had to take this cover off of we had this cover missing, this plate missing. But to change the rear main, you don't even have to pull this. So anyway, we're neck deep in it now. So we decided, instead of fighting, because this truck is so heavy, we can't put it on the lift. Instead of fighting the transmission and all that, and we already saw soot on the up pipes, we just decided we're gonna end up pulling the cab on this one. That way we can pull the engine, do what we want to do, mate these back together, put them in with the overhead hoist. So only thing we're gonna have to do is cut off this top piece right here, and I'm not terribly excited about that, but it is what it is. The bed is not coming off. They welded the bed on is permanent almost. But anyway, we're not gonna go blow by blow on the cab. I will show y'all this though. We're working on this list, and it's evolving. It's not done yet, but let me see if I can get a good zoom. I'll try and snapshot a photo of this, and maybe you guys can pause it. But anyhow, this is a cab pulling checklist that we have. So that way, as we get going on it, we just check items off, and when everything's checked off, we should be pretty well good to go on pulling the cab. So we're gonna set you up on some time lapse and let her roll. And we got about 2 hours before 5 o'clock. So we're gonna see if we can't get this baby ready to come off. Alright guys, we pulled this out from underneath the cab and brought it in the first bay. Once it's at this stage where you can disconnect it from, or you completely disconnect it from the cab, you only got a few other points. I take the whole power steering alternator bracket off, leave the alternator wiring and engine harness alone because that'll go with the motor, and I just tie this around the shock tower, tie my lines up, that way we don't bleed too much power steering fluid. Down in here you got your suction and return lines going to the fuel filter. I'll either catch them from the back or catch them from the front. With the fan on, it's a little easier to catch them from the back, and they can be a sumbitch to get off. Blow them out with some air first, and then use your little tool, push them in. We got videos on that. So we got this power steering pump isolated, fuel lines to the tank are disconnected, the electrical is disconnected. That was all done with the cab. So I'm just double checking everything. We got our down pipe is loose. We got our lift chain on here, ready to go. So I'm gonna put a little bind on it. I got a little chain supporting it. I don't like to leave them when they're sitting with no support in the back. But anyhow, we're gonna bring the overhead over here and hook on, get a little bind on it, and then we can get underneath and pull motor mounts, and she ought to come right out of there. Again, this is the one that we were talking about with the rear cover that for the rear main that was taken off. So we're gonna have to reseal the oil pan to it, and we just as soon we just soon do it. I'm worried that if we don't do it the way we're gonna show y'all how we do it, then we're gonna half-ass it and have a problem and be right back here next week. So let's see, got this around the wrong side here. Alright, I'm gonna get, I believe it's a 21. I'm gonna get that and undo the bottom bolts, and we'll pull her out. I think that's supposed to go like that. Why they got this thing pointed in, you know?
You want the pipe?
No, give me the, well, yeah, we can try it.
Everybody, this is the pipe.
Now, this is absolutely,
It's ridiculous.
that's ridiculous.
Might have to put
that
y'all on
thing
a
down.
tripod. Eh?
Huh? It's moving? It was?
I feel like I'm steady.
Yeah, always use that red Loctite. No, it's when you destroy one by hammering shit through it. All right, guys, we're back on the motor for the whatever. What the hell truck is this? This is a Big Nasty's motor. You got a wear ring, so they've been in this main seal before. I don't think Ford puts them on, but anyway, we wanted to show y'all how we getting that off. I'm gonna come over here and hold the motor. All right, but yeah, so you always check the end of that crank to see if you have a wear ring, and if you do, pop it off and change it, because your new seal is going to be a bigger OD in order to fit the wear ring, and if you put it on just the crank, you're going to have a leak. So we're just taking a couple alignment tools and walking around prying it off little by little.
This one's a little rusty, but slowly.
Would that bigger tool work, or you think you could?
No, this is perfect. I'm just trying not to scratch the crank.
No good way to get it. Just little by little. Yeah, like you were saying, from the factory they didn't come with wear sleeve, but the rear main seals that they sell nowadays will be oversized for the included wear ring. I'm kind of glad they did it that way. That way you don't have to spend all day dressing up in the crank. You can just get a little bit of the rust off of it. The last ring we pulled, it had a pretty big groove in it. Mm-hmm. It's not too bad. This one's a little corroded. I'm just taking the time to go all the way around. She's coming. Right.
Almost there. And that's what we have. Yeah, I'll just dress the rusty part up, I guess.
Alright, that's it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all didn't miss nothing, but you can see the groove. And so, I mean, it's a pretty, you can feel it too. So we're just gonna emery that a little bit and put the new wear ring on when it's time to go on. They do have a press tool, but I think we don't have it, so we're gonna go old school. We'll take the wear ring out of the seal. We're gonna tap it on here with a soft hammer and a brass punch, and then we'll put the seal in and go from there, and then re-silicone. So I don't want to sit in and let y'all watch the joys of scraping silicone off, but we'll come back to you when we're ready to make some more headway.
Alrighty guys, we're going on with the 7.3 all pan, and we got our Dorman dipstick adapter. We're gonna put the O-ring and silicone as well, so The original one mushroomed out like they do, and we're gonna do what we can to keep this O-ring in place.
Now you don't, theoretically you don't even need this with a new part, but I kind of like it because it kind of Loctites everything together, because this jam nut either vibrates loose or the O-ring becomes softer or whatever happens. But you can repair these with just silicone if you have to. But again, we had quite a bit of concaveness to this part, so we got a new one, and we're gonna put a little silicone on it. And
the Super Duty one faces the most forward, so you're gonna use the back notch here. I can get it on there.
it's such a small hole, it's hard to find.
Yeah, not much squeeze out, but that'll be perfect on the inside.
And the little bit that does squeeze out, we're just kind of hoping it kind of acts like Loctite on this nut. What was it? Was it 18?
I'm not sure on this big thing. We never really torque them with a wrench.
Yeah, there is a torque for these. It's not much. Like maybe 18, because it's on an O-ring, so you don't want to squish the O-ring much. And if this gets loose, you don't want to tighten it. You want to take it apart. There is a tool that'll stick in here and hold the inner piece. You can fish out the O-ring and change the O-ring if you have to. But do not tighten it up, because the O-ring, once the O-ring gets loose, it'll pop out in one spot or another in here. And then when you tighten it, it's gonna bend it every time. So we're just gonna let this sit, because we got our silicone in there. We're gonna let that sit for a while and skin over. And then we're just gonna give it a little light snug and call it good.
It's not a sharp bust.
All right, guys, we got the oil pan all cleaned up. She's been out for a minute, so we had a little surface rust. We kind of shined that up a little bit. And over here on the block, we got all of these surfaces cleaned up. Now, this is our back cover for the rear main seal, and we razor knife this off. But you always want to make sure, like, we're gonna put a bead around the oil pan all the way around, but before you put that oil pan, you want to come put a straight bead here on these four corners, these two, and where the front cover goes. Anywhere there's a metal to metal seam, put a little extra, and that way it'll squish in. And just follow the directions. We're using ultra gray, so they say to snug it down, wait an hour, and then torque it. So whatever you like, you know, Ford has their own magic stuff for this. You know, we use ultra gray and it works fine, so we stay with what we know. But whatever y'all want to use, just follow the directions on what you got. And the other thing we're going to do is we got some long, these are M8 125s, and they're like 45 millimeters long. So what we're going to do is, once we get the pan, we're going to hold the pan upside down. We'll drop them in the four corners, and as the pan comes down before it touches, we'll start these and use them as lineups to come straight down on the pan. You need at least 3 of them to do it, so that way everything comes down straight and we don't have any, you know, we don't have to adjust too much. All right, guys, we're just working our way around with the IRA TV, the ultra gray silicone, and then we're gonna come with our pan. We already got the dipstick adapter sealed up in the pan, and we got our 4 long bolts, and we'll show y'all how we're gonna do it as soon as we get the silicone on the machine. We were arguing about whether we got enough to make it, and we're gonna be cutting it close. If it leaks, it's gonna leak right up in here. Oh, that would suck. I hope we don't have to open up another tube to go 2 inches. But if we got to, we got to.
You broke out that camera.
Broke out that camera and cursed you. There you go. You could put some goop on here and smear it. As soon as we turn the camera on, everything goes to hell. We got 2 inches and we can't get it done. Can't pull it off with this equipment. The good news is Tristan's gonna be gray to his toenails.
Let me get out of here. We need to get sick.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my end. Oh, let's see. Okay. Okay, hold it. Can you get a bolt?
You have to hold. Okay, just come down with it. Okay, start it. You can set them down. Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. Now the last time I did that, y'all can see the big old long bolt over there in the corner. And what I did is brought the oil pan up. The engine was upright. And so hanging it about 2 inches below the silicone and then smushing it up straight and installing the little screws was the better way to do it for me. This way you can eyeball it or you can use some little alignment tools, but some little M8 125s kind of help. And what we're going to do again, we're just going to run these up and give them a little snug and then come back in an hour and torque them down, and that's going to be that.
Well, alright guys, we got another interesting conundrum here. Normally I'm able to put my pry bar up here and rest it against a portion of the cab when it's up in the truck to torque my bolts here, but being that's not an option, we're gonna have to figure another way to hold this flywheel back. We'll get back to you on that. So this is what we end up coming up with. 98 foot-pounds on the flywheel. It wasn't enough to break this bolt free, so little breaker bar action. Never hurt nobody. Hey guys, so on this self-adjusting clutch, real imperative that the pressure plate goes down real square, and we really take our time in going around here, just a quarter turn at a time now that I got these bolts bottomed out. But if you don't practice, they actually sell a specialty tool to clamp the pressure plate in place while you tighten the bolts. But you can actually warp the clutch, and then you'll never get it to disengage. Ask me how I know. We're just gonna slowly work our way around this, going a quarter turn at a time. And we'll spare you all the details.
Alright guys, well, as usual, hope y'all enjoyed the footage of us mating the transmission to the engine as much as we enjoyed not producing it for you. We had the transmission on a floor jack and the engine hanging from the gantry, and we just stuck them together. Took a little jig-a-hoozing, but it's on there. And only thing I can tell you is leave on your manuals, leave it in gear, doesn't matter what gear. That way you can clock your splines in manually from the back. And then we put a tail strap on it, and as soon as Tristan gets the starter back on, we're gonna ease that and this and stick them together. We'll try and remember to get footage for that when we come back.
Alright guys, we kind of dove into this one as well and forgot the camera half the time along the way. But before we go ahead with the cab, I got all of our exhaust manifolds clean and V-band clamps, and we're gonna go ahead with some new donut gaskets and go ahead back with the stock pipes. So we'll get some new hardware as well, and before we go on with the cab, we'll put the valve covers on after we burp the engine. One thing I didn't mention, when we had the engine upside down, I pulled a high pressure oil galley plug and let that old engine oil drain out. So this engine has the small turbo plenum as well as the small turbo and piping. We're gonna leave good enough alone and go ahead with stock plumbing on this engine.
Okay, before you start getting, hang on, before you start getting too aggressive, we gotta get this tip back. I was trying to get this nut off.
Our clamp ain't on the bottom. It's not started. It's not in the groove in the bottom.
Well, let me get this started so we don't lose everything. Yeah, but this whole shit just came out. See if that. Oh, I hate this. I can't see the tip. To open it up again.
It wasn't quite in the groove.
Just hold that till I get up. Before we get that, we got to get this one going. I don't know where that bolt went.
Let me get a little softer shoe. Yeah, bro. Wow, since we sweated on something. I remember it's been a minute since we sweated on something.
Yeah. You in the hole?
Son of
thing when it keeps cutting out?
I'm talking to shoot the radio.
Oh, okay. My bad. You want to try this with the short socket?
No, I can't catch a bite right now. Hot, man, you've been wrenching on that thing. I was like, what?
I'll tell you what, if you get me my little ball peen, I might be able to tip tap this up and take up some space for you. Good.
Can't get it by hand.
Now I can come off of this one if you need me to. A little bit. Let me see the little ball peen while you standing up. There you go. All right, let's see if we can get this one on.
You always tighten the flange on for the.
Whichever way goes. On that one, it doesn't matter. Once you get all of that all your bolts in place, then we can just start going around and snugging stuff up. I would probably, get that I try and get everything on these kind of decently snug, and then just go around and start putting it behind more stuff. Because that'll help locate the pipe and make sure everything's pointing the right direction. But you wanna
My washer's gonna go on the nut side.
on the head side, because all your nuts got flares already.
Yes, sir.
You got flare nuts.
Yeah, even though the donuts look good on the last one, I'm glad we're doing this. I think it was leaking with the amount of soot, but
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad leak, but hey, man,
I don't know,
address it while it's out, and you can get to it.
Are they made to snug up over time, maybe?
Yeah, you can crush donuts some more. They're soft,
But with how frozen them bolts were, they would have wanted to go further in.
Probably not that much. Okay, that's snug. And then the donuts, you just want to kind of go even. You got to go like this, a little bit on both sides. You don't want to get it all, caked up on one side.
This thing will only go with the opening. That's what we find for the replace, but maybe with the never sees and the new bolts, that'll make it better. Yeah, once you get those kind of snug, then you can come up and well, it'd be nice to hear this thing breathe. Let's see what we got. This fan. You got anything that'll fit? You don't have one of your 13s on here. Look at my 4-inch wrench. No, I was gonna get a 13 wrench, but I don't know how long it is. I got this here. No, I don't think will it get on that bolt? No, that's on the bottom and not on the top. Yeah, I can't get on that one. I don't think you can either. Just have to go with that one and get a ratchet. It's just this is a problem now. And I can't get the round end of the ratchet on there. And it only wants to go like open. Once you got them going, just run them up. Like I say, these you want to go up, even those it doesn't matter. You just go up these. You feel like you got a good tank. see if you can get another kind of two on those. I think that's getting pretty close. Let's see if I can get this one. See if you can get any of this with that when you get done. See if I'll tighten up anymore. And I think that's going to be it for today. Alright guys, so all we did here, anytime you got access to the uprights, if you see any soot, any black soot running down your...
These are just regular old school squeeze donuts. That's how the factory setup is. If you don't have the accordion pipe, well then you can do whatever you need to do there. But with the collector and all of this, it's best to get everything started and connected loosely and then start tightening up from there. So that's how we got that going, and we're gonna tighten these up and call it a day, and we'll see what tomorrow brings once it gets here. So it'll be a little nap and a little supper meal for us, and about 3 seconds for y'all.
Yeah, this thing's got a lot of squish.
All right, we got that carcass out of bay 1 and back up into bay 2. And I was doing this last night and damn near knocked the cab off the lift. But we got in here anyway. I had to go on a little field trip this morning, pick up some metal for the building, but we're back. And just to catch y'all up, all we got done so far is spotting this underneath the cab. And before we get into bringing this cab down on here, we hung the valve covers, and we didn't have enough juice with the battery charger to spin it over with no glow plugs. So we spun it over on the harmonic balance nut and made several rotations there, so we shouldn't have anything hydrolocking. Hey, did we get all of the valley plugs, all the galley plugs all in there? Okay. So we got the galley plugs back in, which are right above the glow plugs, and then we put our glow plugs in, torqued them down. We just put the valve covers on both sides. Just trying to get everything that we can get done before we put the cab on, because y'all know, anybody that's done it, this one right here is just wonderfully fun. New donuts here, new hardware, and we're gonna put our snorkel tube, as soon as we can find it, here to here, and that'll button up the back of the engine. Everything else, all the other business will be on the front, and then we can start coming down with the cab at that point. So we're gonna find our snorkel piece, which is missing. It went AWOL, and once we find it, we're gonna put it on and start coming down with the cab. Alright guys, we are back on this big nasty flatbed. We got the electrical, this ground, we had to redo some wiring here, just the signal starter wire, starter signal wire going down to the bottom was all frayed. We replaced it. We got this ground, that ground, map sensor, power steering and hydro boost put back. We're gonna run it with no belt in a little while, just to kind of evaluate the motor and see what all is going on. We didn't do our steering knuckle. Well, he did do the steering knuckle, or at least he stuck it into the cab. I'm trying to see what watch what Tristan did. While he was rigging up the front and buttoning all that up, I decided to take a look in the tank and get y'all back here. So this is where we are here. Tristan's getting the last of the tank out. We thought we'd get lucky and not have to pull the tank, excuse me sir, because we were trying to get at it through the gooseneck hole right here, which actually gave good access, but a couple of the sending unit nuts were stubborn and gave us some trouble. As y'all can see, we did a hutch mod on this. For those of you that don't know what that is, you can back up and look at some videos. We got some, but this is the forward screens. You got two test tubes in these two pockets right here. When they fill up with dirt, they can't dump it anywhere. So when it packs off, you're stuck wherever you at, and it's drop the tank and clean them, and that's all you can do. So I prefer to get rid of these and put the hutch mod. So you measure to the bottom of your tank minus a 1/4 inch and put this in here, and that's your return. And for those of you that might not have seen this before, I was showing this to Tristan earlier. There's always this capped off extra line. Let me turn this around, on the top of the Ford. So your big line, your 3/8 is suction, 5/16 is return, and there's a, I don't know if it's 5/16, it might be a little smaller, which is this one here. And what this is for is RVs, ambulances, and stuff that runs generators, or a service truck that runs diesel equipment off the truck tank will suck here, because this is now the bottom of the tank, minus a 1/4 inch. So this will suck you down to about maybe a 1/4 tank, and then this will start sucking air, and whatever runs on this line right here will end up just dying out. But it'll leave you a 1/4 tank to get your truck started, and it won't suck all your diesel out of the tank. So that's why that's there kept. So we just hutch modded this, and we got the O-ring cleaned up. We're gonna throw away these forward screens. We're gonna let this dry out, but Tristan's been mopping the tank and getting all the last of the stuff out of it. Had somebody had been running red diesel, so evidently this is an old farm truck, so we got all that out of there, and we'll burn that in the welder machine and go back with some good clean diesel. So that's where we're at now. Again, we had to drop it out. It's really not that complicated. I've got a video way back on the channel when I did this same style tank, and I probably have a couple of other ones that's popped up. But anyway, just wanted to catch y'all up on what we're doing. We're gonna run it, and then once we get that, we're happy with what we hear, we'll finish putting the motor together, put this drive shaft on there, and see if she'll move under her own power.
Action!
I guess she's in negative, but it don't really matter if we ain't got a drive